Well, good morning. Welcome to Disembarkation Day, or Debarkation Day. Depends on which way you want to say it. We are supposed to meet at the Grand Spectrum at 8 because we checked our bags, and because we just didn't want to have to carry all of those bags and Madison. But we're priority, so we are going to be one of the first groups off the ship because of our platinum status. So we're going to go ahead and go down there and check out the scene at the Grand Spectrum Theater. Katie may go grab a little bite to eat or something to nibble on. I definitely think we're going to try and aim for a Dunkin' Donuts or something, because I could use a little pick-me-up for this 6.5-hour drive. Standing here one last time on our forward-facing balcony, trying to soak in the sun and the views. This was an amazing week here on the celebration, and if you're ever interested in trying to do a forward-facing balcony cabin and you're on the fence about it, jump over that fence. It is awesome. I 100% will do this again. Probably on any type of XL class that we're on. I'll probably be right here. And this is great. So, all right, let's see what else we can get into. Hey, Madison, guess what? It's your birthday.
Yay!
How old are you now?
3!
You're 3! Yay!
Mama, my birthday.
Today is your birthday.
Yeah,
Today is your birthday, baby.
I'm 3 now.
Yeah, now you're 3. You're my big girl. 3 years ago today, you were born.
Yeah.
Say, excuse me, coming through. I'm 3.
No.
I love you, Madison. I'm so proud of you. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
All right.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Madison. Happy birthday to you. Love you.
We love you. Kisses.
Say, we'll miss you.
Miss you.
We will miss you guys. It's been a fun week.
It has been a great week. So the paper said that we should meet at 8. We went down a little early because just McNeil things. We wanted to say goodbye to Grandma and Grandpa because they're doing a back-to-back. So they're actually going to a totally different area to stay on the ship. And so they said, okay, you're dismissed. I mean, we literally walked in and they said, get out. So, and we're right here. We're getting checked out right now. So it's not even 7:30. We were supposed to meet at 8. So, you know, it's crazy that we're moving this fast already. But I think we've been here since 6 o'clock this morning or something. So I think most of the unloading was already done. But, all right, you ready? They're going to scan out your card, okay? Because it's time for us to go home.
You know, that's a good question. Why?
Yeah, why? Why must we get off the ship? Why, oh why? This is it. The gangway of sadness, as always. Had an absolutely wonderful week aboard the celebration. It was wonderful hanging out with Grandma and Grandpa for the week. We'll see them in a couple of weeks before they go and springboard off to their big travel trip. So we are just happy to have been here. Like we said, today is Madison's birthday, so we do have a long drive home, but we have a couple of special things we're going to get into just for her birthday. Well, we made it back to the truck. The time is now 8 o'clock, which is technically the time we were supposed to meet at the theater. So if that just tells you how fast it was to get off the ship, that just tells you how fast it was to get off the ship. So pretty easy process. We checked our bags. We ran with our bags on our own. We didn't do a porter or nothing. because we have to go into a different line because Madison doesn't have a passport and we have to use her birth certificate. We go into a different line, and sometimes that line is a lot shorter than the other line, and today was that case. We literally walked right up to the front of the line, like we were behind a group of 3 that literally walked away as we walked up, and then there was one other person next to us in a line, they went, and then it was our turn. So it was like super, super fast, whereas the other lines, even though they had more lines, there was more people in those lines, so it worked out in our favor this time. So like I said, we got off lickety split. Pretty cool. So we have that's just 5 hours and 7 minutes.
That's not that bad.
I thought it was like 6.5. Well, by the time we stop and stuff, it'll be 6.5. But cool. So we're gonna hit the road. We'll probably do thoughts on the celebration here in a little bit. But for now, we are going to sign off here at the Port of Miami. Do you like your birthday present, Bubba?
Yeah.
Hit the keyboard.
It's my piano.
It's your piano. Show me how you play the keys. Wow, that was beautiful. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Madison. Happy birthday to you.
Logan? Yay!
Yay! We are finally back home. We have celebrated Madison's birthday, and we are just here to wrap up our review of the Carnival Celebration. So some of the things that we absolutely loved of the Carnival Celebration. Obviously, the food was delicious.
I agree. I think just the variety of food was amazing. And just the options. I mean, some of the staple items, like pizza, we never ate once because we were
or
so
the deli.
busy eating everything else, which generally those are what we go to. But
Well, that Emerald's, the beignets.
Those beignets.
Those were beignets.
yeah,
They
those
were delicious.
amazing. So definitely great food. We loved all of the food on the Carnival Celebration, and I definitely felt it was elevated.
So aside from the food, we really did enjoy the entertainment. And you have to start with the top, the cruise director. Chris the Flying Scotsman was an absolute hoot and a half. I don't know of another cruise director that has their own show or is that energetic throughout the entire cruise. He wasn't the assigned cruise director, he was just a fill-in for Lee, but that was a happy change for me. Now, I personally have never had Lee as a cruise director. Someday soon we probably will, but I really did enjoy Chris. What did you think about him as a cruise director?
I thought he was great, very entertaining, very engaging, and I loved the just passion that you could just feel every time he's on stage, which I saw him more in the kids program than I did anywhere else. I didn't have the opportunity to go to like his actual show, but even just with the kids program, you can even see how much he just loves what he does.
So, okay, let's talk shows. Now, we saw some of the shows together. We saw some of the shows separately. What did you think of the overall like shows and entertainment side?
I definitely feel like the production value has been upped on the celebration. I loved Celestial Strings. That was probably my favorite show that I saw. Being in center stage is a little bit different because there is a sense of distraction because you're in a thoroughfare. I don't love that. I wish that it was in the actual theater, but the actual show itself was fantastic, and that was probably my favorite Carnival production I've seen.
Yeah, I would say that the XL class has taken it to that XL level, and I keep seeing people say XL as if it's an extra large. XL. That's not. It's the XL, like EXCEL, like an excellent class. And it really was. And we haven't been on the Mardi Gras, so we can't speak for the Mardi Gras, but my assumption is it's very similar because they are sister ships. They have that center stage thoroughfare type area. I would say that they're probably very similar in that they really are a step above your normal Carnival level. That's not to say that they're not equal or greater than some of the other cruise lines, but I definitely feel like comparing Carnival to Carnival, this entertainment was a step above. And as far as embarkation and disembarkation, or debarkation, whatever you like to call it, it was smooth. It was my first time in Miami. Was it your first time too?
No.
Okay. Well, she's more well-traveled than I am. But it was my first time in Miami, and I really felt like it was easy on, easy off.
Another thing that we absolutely loved about the Carnival Celebration is the forward-facing balcony. I think that was the highlight because we had such a great space that was outside, a personal lounger, a huge space to spend all of our time at, and it was the best.
I almost feel like the captain sailed into the sunset and the sunrise as often as he could on purpose. There's actually one clip, and I'm going to put it in here, where I think it's when we were leaving St. Thomas, where he goes out and in a direction towards the sunset, and the moment the sunset goes off of the horizon, he turns away.
You want to say Thomas?
Like he's going in some random direction, and then he's like, the sunset. Sails into the sunset, and he's like, okay, resume heading, and then we traveled off in a different direction. That was just magical. That whole, every room we ever have on a cruise ship is going to be a slight sigh of disappointment in comparison to that forward-facing balcony. She is undersaying that was the highlight. That was the best ever.
Yeah, hands down the best room. And we've stayed in suites before. We've stayed in Alf.
We've stayed in aft balconies. We have stayed in suites. We've done interiors. We've done ocean views. We've done portholes. We've done tons of different types of balconies. But a forward-facing balcony is
unique.
And yes, being on the aft, which we have an aft balcony on the Norwegian Bliss coming up early next year, and that one we have an aft-facing balcony on, which is great. We love the cavitation station, whatever you want to call it. We love watching where we've been. It's wonderful. However, I didn't know if there would be that big of a difference, oh, look where we've been, or look where we're going, but you stand up against there and you pretend you're driving the ship, because you're right up front. Literally the bridge was 2 floors above us. I could hear them tap dancing toes driving the ship, and it
was magical.
It really was.
Really
stupid as that sounds.
No, it was magical. And the other thing that was really neat too is when we were in ports where we were facing, at Puerto Rico, we could literally see the fort from our balcony. It was so great. It was just the whole situation, the whole experience was just magical.
Pulling out of Miami, Port of Miami, and then pulling back in. It's just really cool seeing where you're going.
We went all the way there and back, and both of them were good.
And we are here today and there tomorrow. But, okay, so was there anything that you didn't like?
There were very few things that I disliked about the celebration.
I'll tap on one.
Go for it.
Which we've already discussed, is that center stage being a thoroughfare. It was cool that it was a multi-use space, but it sucked. It ruined the immersion of... And if you were sitting on the floor, way up in the front row, you wouldn't have a problem. The problem with sitting on the floor is 5 feet below the stage. So then you're looking up at everyone, and because you're so far forward, they actually have a center part on the floor, so that's happening behind you. then there's 2 really far sides, and then there's all the stage that's 5 feet above you. So it's like watching Star Wars Episode 2 at the IMAX theater at Mosey across the street from USF. It's so big and so much is happening that you cannot keep up with the pod racing. It's ridiculous. It's so much is happening. So that's why I kind of choose to sit back a little bit farther to be able to see everything. And unfortunately, that puts you in the thoroughfare area, and that, as we know, was ruined for the most magnificent circus. That really did ruin the immersion or the continuity of the show, with people just screaming and yelling and walking by and spilling drinks and opening the doors to the casino and leaving them open. And it was a little miss for me. What about you?
I think for the size of the ship, the splash pad in the kids area outside were way too small. It was always so crowded, because you have to imagine you have 6,000 people on the ship, and a lot of people, especially on sea days, want to be out playing in the water, and there wasn't a big enough water area for kids specifically. So the splash pad was pretty disappointing for the size of the ship. The only other thing that I want to note, as much as I loved the forward-facing balcony, one of the unique things about that is you're looking over the crew hangout area, which is totally fine, but they all smoke a lot of cigarettes, and so you're constantly getting whiffs of cigarette smoke throughout the day and night. So
that didn't bother me at all.
It might not. It's not going to bother everyone, but that's just something that stood out to me that I would want to know beforehand. Would I still book it again? Absolutely. But something just good to know. By the way, we booked another MSC.
Yes. So we got a Norwegian coming up and an MSC. Let me know in the comments if you want to join us. I'll give you the details. I'd love for us to hang out. I don't know. I don't know at what level do you have a group cruise, but I know that there's a lot of people doing group cruises.
We just love cruising with people, so.
We just love hanging out with people, cruising, camping, or whatever in general. Cool. Well, I think that's going to wrap up our likes and dislikes of the Carnival Celebration. We had an absolute blast. I think overall I would rate that a 9 out of 10 cruise. We really did have a great time.
That was one of our
Obviously, hanging out with Katie's parents, the in-laws, it was really great for them to have us to all hang out. That was really good to catch up with family. Then it was also really great to have a built-in babysitter, so Katie and I could get a little away time, like in San Juan, or going to Teppanyaki for a little date lunch and stuff like that was really great. So we do want to say thank you, shout out, and thank you to Sandy and Pat for kind of watching Madison and hanging out to give us a little leeway. Obviously, we're sitting in our RV right now because we are, in fact, full-time RVers. So we're on the road, and we don't always get to have, mommy and daddy time, going out on dates and stuff like that. So it was nice to have that, the freedom to kind of give Madison over to Grandma and Grandpa, or Grandma and Papa, who are super happy to have them. So, well, I think that wraps up our review.
Definitely leave a comment if you learned anything about this, or if you have any other things that you learned while you were on the Carnival Celebration. We would love to know. We also are going on, like we mentioned, an MSC cruise as well as a Norwegian cruise coming up, which that'll be my first Norwegian. So we definitely have more cruise content coming your way. Please subscribe, stick around, and we will catch you in the next one.
I'm Rob.
And I'm Katie.
And I'm Madison.
From Here Today.
Where tomorrow.
And we'll see you there.
Bye.